Imagine working years to build your dream home with your own two hands, only to be thrown out by the very woman you built it for. While she partied inside with other men, most people would break. But my friend? He had something she never expected, friends with heavy machinery, and a taste for justice. What came next was the kind of revenge people whisper about decades later. If you've ever dreamed of seeing justice served in the most creative way possible, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment about the wildest revenge you've ever seen. This is one you won't forget. Let's dive in. This story starts with a man I grew up with. Let's call him Ethan. Ethan wasn't just a friend. He was the kind of guy you don't meet twice in life. He had this quiet empathy, this deep kindness, the type who remembered when your grandma was sick, who showed up when your car broke down at 2 a.m., who always gave more than he had. After high school, he served a hitch in the Navy, came back, studied computers, played guitar in a small-town band. He wasn't rich, but he was respected. And then there was her. She was beautiful. The kind of beautiful that made rooms go silent. The golden child of her family. Spoiled, adored, entitled. Let's call her Vanessa. When Ethan married her, everyone clapped and smiled. But behind the polite applause, there were whispers. Because some people knew what Ethan didn't. Vanessa didn't want a partner. She wanted a stage, a big wedding, a handsome musician husband she could brag about, a lifestyle that made her the center of attention. Ethan thought he was building a marriage. She thought she was collecting trophies. They bought land together. Ethan borrowed money, leaned on his family's skills in construction, and they built a house, literally. His brothers, cousins, uncles all pitched in. Sweat, blood, weekends lost. A home rose from the dirt. Ethan promised to pay everyone back slowly, and he did. Meanwhile, Vanessa spent. Designer clothes, constant nights out, sometimes a part-time job to look busy. But really she was coasting. And within 2 years she was bored. Bored of Ethan's steady love. Bored of the house she didn't lift a finger to build. So she looked elsewhere. Affairs? Maybe multiple. Eventually, she was caught. Now here's where it goes from painful to cruel. Ethan, being who he was, actually tried to work things out. He loved her. He wanted to believe she was just lost. But Vanessa, she doubled down. She accused him of domestic abuse, lies, filed for divorce, got a restraining order. Just like that, Ethan was banished. He couldn't even step onto the property he built with his own hands. The home his family sweated over. He was shoved back into his childhood bedroom while Vanessa entertained her boyfriends inside the house that bore his fingerprints on every nail and board. And the worst part? He was still paying. Paying back his family for construction. Paying the land mortgage. Paying for upkeep and maintenance. Paying for a life he wasn't allowed to live. Most people would have collapsed under that weight. But Ethan had friends. And one friend's lawyer noticed something strange. The land was mortgaged, yes, but the house itself? The structure wasn't listed in the court order. Technically, it was still owned by the family, since Ethan hadn't finished paying them back for the materials and labor. And here's where fate dealt Vanessa a card she could never have seen coming. Because my family? We owned a heavy equipment business. We moved houses for a living. Yes, you heard that right. Whole houses. Jack them up, load them onto a truck, drive them away. So when Vanessa and her new boyfriend went on vacation with her family, we moved in. Literally, I'll never forget it. Steel beams sliding under the frame. Hydraulic jacks groaning. Neighbors gathering with their jaws on the ground as slowly, inch by inch, Vanessa's dream house lifted into the air. By the time the sun set, the foundation was bare. Pipes sticking out, wires dangling like veins torn open. All that remained was a cheap yard shed, hastily stuffed with her clothes and trinkets. The house? Gone. Repossessed. When Vanessa came home, she found nothing but dirt, concrete, and humiliation. The judge later scolded Ethan, furious at the audacity. But it wasn't illegal. The land was hers, yes. But the house? The house had never been hers. It should have ended there. But oh, this was just the beginning. Now every story like this has a wild card. Ours was Big Bob. Bob was a legend. Picture a man too stubborn for death, too rowdy for jail, and too loyal for betrayal. A one-man demolition crew. After the movie came out, we even called him Demolition Man. And when Vanessa wronged Ethan, Bob took it personally. First, there were the possessions. When Vanessa's family came to retrieve her things from that yard shed, they found more than clothes. They found giant dildos crusted with old whipped cream, porn magazines of the most extreme kind, bestiality, bizarre insertions, bongs shaped like things I won't describe twice. It was vile, humiliating, and deliberate. Then came the dating magazines. Pre-internet days, people used classifieds. Suddenly, Vanessa's photos appeared in escort ads with her phone number. Her parents had to change their numbers multiple times, mail forwarding tricks. Change of address cards sent out, scattering her mail across the country. Letters lost, important notices gone, including her car insurance renewal. A few days after her legal separation required her to get her own insurance, Vanessa's car mysteriously burned down in her workplace parking lot. No insurance. Total loss and the flyers. Oh, the flyers. Intimate photos. Her face clear, the man's face blacked out. Bold text. This is not her husband. Copied hundreds of times, slipped under windshield wipers at her workplace, her church, her neighborhood. The police investigated, but Bob was a trucker. Always moving, never caught. Eventually, Vanessa broke. She agreed to sell her share of the land back to Ethan for a reasonable price. He ended up paying for it twice, but it bought him peace. The restraining order lifted. And when the ink dried, the house rolled right back onto its foundation, like it had never left. Justice, in wood and nails. You'd think she'd learn, but narcissists rarely do. She found a new target, a hard-working man from a good family. Love-bombed him, wrapped him around her finger. Started planning a wedding bigger, better, more expensive than the one she had with Ethan. She even bragged about it at her bachelorette party. But fate and Bob weren't done with her. At the groom's bachelor party, flyers appeared again. Intimate photos, scandalous reminders of her past. And at her own bachelorette party, police raided, drugs, alcohol, people half-dressed. The bride-to-be herself caught in compromising scenes. The wedding? Ruined, and to put a twisted bow on it, Vanessa's old wedding dress, the one she wore marrying Ethan, appeared on a scarecrow in her front yard. Painted with blood-red symbols, defaced with a pentagram. No one even realized it was missing until it showed up there. From then on, Vanessa couldn't escape her reputation. Every new workplace, every serious boyfriend, the flyers resurfaced. Her golden child glow dimmed. The weight piled on. 50, 70 pounds. The men stopped coming. Eventually, she married a truck driver. Not a prince. Not a stage. Just a man as beaten down as she had become. And Ethan? He lived free. The house back under his name. His dignity restored. And Bob? Bob passed on eventually. But his legend lives. Every time we tell this story, we raise a glass. To loyalty. To friendship. To a man who made sure justice wasn't just served. It was unforgettable. Vanessa thought she could destroy a kind man and walk away untouched. But every lie, every betrayal came back on her tenfold. And Ethan? He didn't just get revenge. He got his home back, his life back, and the peace of knowing that no matter how low someone tries to drag you, true friends will lift you higher. Sometimes with a truck and a few steel beams. Stories like this remind us, betrayal doesn't end relationships. It reveals character. And when the truth comes out, karma has a funny way of showing up in steel-toed boots. Justice isn't always in a courtroom. Sometimes it's in the dirt where a house used to stand. So what do you think? Was this the most nuclear revenge you've ever heard, or have you seen worse? Drop your stories in the comments. I read every one. Hit like if you enjoyed watching Vanessa's empire crumble, and subscribe for more tales where justice isn't just served. It's engineered. Until next time.